Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey guys. I'm starting another series because the only way that I can adequately post videos and make content and actually use my YouTube channel is through the use of series. Because first of all, I always pick things that I'm interested in, and that makes me want to post more, obviously, and it's better content because lately my content has been off. Not that it was ever on, but I'm just saying it's been off. Welcome to the first episode of spooky season, because as Kayla has stated many times, it's Halloween always. Thanks. Okay, so this series is going to be about true crime, mysteries, conspiracy theories, ghost stories, supernatural things, and stories that I have myself because, you know, I'm like haunted by ghosts and my house is haunted too, so that's pretty great. It's good and fresh and it's super fun sometimes. Got some good wholesome fuzzy socks on, grab some tea, get in a blanket, you know, and be ready for this story, sister. Okay, so let's begin. In 1861, a man named Herman Webster Mudgett was born in New Hampshire, and at an early age it became evident. How do people film these? At an early age, it became evident that he was very interested in skeletons and death, which is great. After graduating high school when he turned 16, he legally changed his name to Henry Howard Holmes, or H.H. Holmes as we know, and that's what I'll refer to him as from now on. It's just H.H. Holmes because that's a lot easier. So Holmes studied medicine in a small school in Vermont before moving on to the University of Michigan, where he went to medical school. So while enrolled in the school, Holmes would steal cadavers and he would burn or dismember or disfigure them. Okay, so the scam behind that is that Holmes would take out a bunch of insurance policies on these people, and then he would get money from their bodies after they had died. So in 1884, Holmes passed his medical exam before moving to Chicago in 1885, where he became a medical assistant, well, not medical assistant, a pharmaceutical assistant in a pharmacy under the alias Dr. Henry H. Holmes. The owner of the drugstore actually passed away in his time there, and the wife claimed ownership over the pharmacy. So after buying the store, the widow disappeared and was never seen again, and many believe that Holmes was actually the cause of her death and that she was the first victim. But this could never be verified, so we don't know. While being an owner of the pharmacy, Holmes actually bought the lot across the street, where he designed and built a 3-story hotel which the neighborhood would eventually call the Castle. So during 1889, Holmes actually hired and fired various workers that were building the castle so that nobody would know that he was designing a murder house, or a murder castle, murder hotel. After construction was complete in 1891, he put up a bunch of advertisement in newspapers and ads all across Chicago for people to come to his hotel. He even offered jobs for young women at the time. Holmes actually even placed ads for himself as a lonely man who was looking for a wife. Fun fact, all of Holmes' employers, hotel guests, and fiancés actually had to have life insurance in order to be either working under him or living in the hotel. So in 1893, Chicago was given the opportunity to host the World's Fair, which was an event that they held for Columbus discovering America, which he didn't, but that's a different story for a different day. Holmes took this as an opportunity to have many people stay at his hotel because his hotel was actually very close to where the event would be held. He even believed that many of the visitors would be women that he could easily seduce into his hotel. Okay, so let me just give you a little layout of how the castle looked. The first floor had a bunch of stores, and the 2 upper floors had Holmes's office and the several hundred rooms where he would commit all of these murders. So some of the rooms were soundproof or filled with gas lines so that Holmes could asphyxiate his hotel guests whenever he felt like it. Throughout the hotel, there were also trapdoors, peepholes, stairways that led to a dead end, and a chute that led to the basement. So the basement was actually designed as Holmes' own lab, and it had a dissecting table, a stretching rack, and a crematory. Sometimes after committing the murders, he would send the body down the chute, dissect them, strip them of their flesh, and sell their skeletal remains to medical schools. Or other times he would just cremate the bodies or throw them in a pile of acid. One of Holmes' earliest murder victims was his mistress, Julia Smythe. Her husband, Ned Corner, had been working in the jewelry counter downstairs, and after hearing of their affair, he left behind his daughter, Pearl. Smythe gained custody over Pearl and decided to remain at the hotel, keeping up her relationship with Holmes. But on Christmas Eve of 1891, both Pearl and her mother went missing. Holmes claimed that Julia had died due to an abortion, but neither one of the deaths had actually been confirmed or denied, so we don't know. Another one of Holmes' victims was a woman named Amelia Segrande, who began working on the hotel in 1892 but disappeared that Christmas. Holmes was actually quite a womanizer and spent a lot of his time seducing women. That was the way he would get them to come to his hotel. But he was also at some point married to 3 different women. So while this is all happening, Holmes actually had an accomplice named Benjamin Pitzel, who he would commit various insurance frauds with. So after the World Fair, Chicago was in a slump and not a lot of people had money, so Holmes decided to abandon the hotel and focus more on his insurance scams. Sometimes he would commit random murders along the way. While committing these scams, Holmes was actually caught and sent to jail after buying various horses and sending them to St. Louis, where he made a lot of profit, but obviously he was caught, and that's why he went to jail. While in jail, Holmes met a man named Marion Hedgepeth, who would become his new accomplice in another various strings of insurance scams. Holmes told Marion that he would take out an insurance policy for $10,000, where he would fake his own death, and then pay Hedgepeth $500 to become his lawyer to deal with any issues that may arise from faking his death. After being released from jail, Holmes set out to attempt his plan, but seeing as how he had already committed so many insurance scams before, the insurance company was very suspicious and did not give him the money he wanted for his insurance policy. So then Holmes decided to continue his plan in Philadelphia. This time, however, he would have Pitzel fake his death instead of Hedgepeth. Unfortunately, Holmes ended up killing Pitzel and took all of the money for himself. In 1894, Hedgepeth was actually really angry at Holmes for not receiving the money that he was promised for the scam, so he ratted Holmes out to the police. The police were finally able to catch up with Holmes in Boston, where they arrested him for another horse swindle that took place in Texas. After being arrested, the police discovered that Holmes appeared as if he was prepared to leave the country, and that left them very suspicious. So the police decided to investigate Holmes's castle, where they discovered the strange and efficient ways that he committed a tremendous amount of murders. Many of the bodies they found, however, were dismembered and had decomposed so badly that they weren't able to fully identify how many they were or who they were. So the investigation actually spread on into Toronto. The police discovered the bodies of the Pitzel children who had gone missing during Holmes's insurance fraud spree and were able to link their murders back to him. So then the police arrested Holmes once again, and he was convicted for their murder and sentenced to being hung. Sentenced to a hanging. He was going to be hung. So while being imprisoned, Holmes realized that his appearance had changed drastically, and even described himself as being transformed into the devil because of what he had done. On May 7th, 1896, Holmes was hanged in the Moyamensing prison, also known as the Philadelphia County Prison, for the death of Pitzel and his children. Fun fact. Not fun, but just a fact. What's his name? Holmes had actually requested his coffin to be contained in cement and buried 10 feet deep with the fear that grave robbers would be hopping into his grave and stealing his body. I have another sort of fun fact. On March 7th, 1914, the Chicago Tribune reported that Quinlan, the caretaker of the castle, had committed suicide, and that the unexplained deaths of the castle would remain with him in his grave, I guess. Quinlan had actually taken strychnine, and his body was found in his bedroom with a note that said, "I couldn't sleep." That's wild. And the relatives of Quinlan had reported that he couldn't sleep. Wait, what am I saying? That he had been haunted. And the relatives of Quinlan had reported that he had been haunted and was suffering from hallucinations before he died. So, creepy. Okay, boys and girls, men and women, children of all ages. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm really tired. I hope you enjoyed that, or didn't enjoy that, depending on what kind of a person you are. But that was the first installment of this series, and I'm really excited because I love murder mysteries, I love conspiracy theories, I love true crime, I love it all. And I don't know, these are probably going to be like very prominent videos because I have so many ideas and so many things that I just want to put out to the world that I'm really excited to do. So expect that in the future. Okay, bye.